Yeah!
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Dungeon the Mad Mage. It has been a couple weeks. I had some computer trouble, and then we had some scheduling issues, but we are back. And I don't know about you guys. I'm super jonesing for some good old Dungeon the Mad Mage D&D. So it is session 37. We are actually coming up on a year. Next month will be a year of Dungeon of the Mad Mage.
Wow.
And that's not even
I
including,
know Zach's over there just like a year and like 2 levels. This is bullshit.
I didn't say it.
Well,
I
gotta
didn't say
remember,
that, but I know
we've
that.
It was in his mind, though.
for a while.
Yeah.
Because, there was another campaign before this.
Oh well, yeah, that's true.
It wasn't streamed, but
Yeah, but I mean, specifically, Dungeon of the Mad Mage has been going since last June. I think it's either June or July. I'd have to double check, but anyways, regardless, does anybody have anything, or are we ready to jump in?
Keep going, God.
Let's jump into that recap. Been a couple weeks since I've done this, since I've both written this and read one of these, so bear with me. Previously, in the Dungeon of the Mad Mage, the party found themselves weary and worn after a battle against Balgroas, but victorious. They headed back to the River Coven to report their success and claim the fruits of their labor. However, when they returned, Gurgle Brine, the lead sister of the Coven, was away. Fortunately or unfortunately, they had Cauldra Cuddlefingers to entertain them while they waited, though they did not wait long. After a short time, Gurgle returned, exasperated and wounded. The Coven immediately distanced themselves to discuss private matters, but soon enough returned to the party. Gurgle congratulated them on their success and willingly traded Matashtai's artifact for the circlet of the Two-Headed King. Bones attempted to inquire about Gurgle's condition and what was going on, but the Coven didn't seem trusting enough to speak about the subject yet. As the party left to explore and potentially meet the Legion, they left the River Coven by the southern direction. Coral traveled with them to the cavern with the Great Stone Cauldron, making it clear that the River Coven considered this series of caves to be their territory. Taking the hint, the party headed back to the Sargoth River instead of exploring eastward. There, they used their drow raft to ford the river to the western banks. Here, they found a great stone door flanked by defaced carvings of dwarves. When they ventured inside, they found a small antechamber with another similar door. As Ashes moved to inspect it, he triggered a trap, causing a massive stone block to fall down upon him, nearly crushing him and pinning him to the floor. The party rushed to his aid, but was initially unsuccessful in freeing him, and the block continued to crush him. In a panic, Ashes transformed into his wolf form, heaving and scrabbling. The extra strength was just what the party needed to free him from the trap. As Ashes addressed his injuries, Bones investigated the door and found it locked, with no obvious way of opening it. Not wanting to force anything, the party decided to explore some of the miscellaneous tunnels around them, eventually heading west and then south, following the smell of decay. They eventually found a room with 3 dead reptilian creatures, as well as a stone archway whose keystone and base stones showed an image of a man reaching out with a staff. While they investigated this archway, they were unaware of the drow ambush that had snuck up upon them. The drow launched their assault, initially targeting Ezrah before Bones pulled him out of the way. The party weathered a volley of crossbow bolts, and none of them succumbed to the famous drow poison, or at least not to its greatest extent. After that, a fierce melee ensued, with the party quickly gaining the upper hand. The leader of the drow faced off against Ashes, and actually succeeded in wounding him greatly, giving the party a momentary pause as Ashes struggled to control his feral side. But in the end, he succeeded, and the party cut the drow down. Afterwards, the party found the drow's camp to the south on the other side of the Sargoth River, with access only being available via swinging rope or by climbing 8 feet up out of the water. The party decided that this location was safe enough for their first camping experience in Undermountain. More importantly, the party was worried that they wouldn't be able to safely make it back through drow territory. So, our party set watch, rested for the evening, telling tales around a campfire. At third watch, Ashes heard elvish speech across the river and roused the party, but nothing came of the situation. Now, as the rest of the party sleeps, Ezrah watches over them, staring out into the darkness, waiting. Okay, so flip you guys on over to Sargoth level real quick.
Croft level.
Where's Waldo?
I just went straight down and I found us.
Just all the way straight down, all the way down. Just keep going down.
That worked. You're a smart kid, Mitchell.
And if
Sure.
anyone needs a reference tool, they can refer to the handy dandy map, which should be updated
It
to
is.
include the new territory that you all have explored, some of the tunnels and the archway that you found, and all the way down in the southwest, the encampment which you are currently resting. Ezrah.
Have we healed up during this rest?
This is the end of the rest. So Ezrah is in final watch. He's in the fourth watch right now. Everyone else is finishing up their sleep. Ezrah you hear a rush of wind that breezes in from the southeast. Barely audible over the gurgling of the Sargoth River. Ooh, I should turn on some river noise.
So am I 100% now, or am I still considered?
No
recovered?
one is 100% anything yet.
So I'm gonna pop my Halaster
Okay.
to detect magic myself.
Okay. As you cast the spell, right? You grip the Halaster, you cast the spell. You feel a cold sensation wash over you. And your skin pimples, right? Like you get the cold rush. The hair on the back of your neck stands up. And right when you cast the spell and that kind of field of vision wells up from you, right? Your ability to now detect magic. You see a aquamarine colored hand, dingy, dirty, black fingernails up onto the ledge, right? This gnarled, bony hand. And just barely peeking up over the edge, you see seaweed hair and a face that kind of like glances up. And say what?
Does it look like one of the?
Absolutely, it looks to be Cauldra Cuddlefingers, right? And she kind of like, he peeks her face up and over, and she smiles, she grins, right? And she has those serrated, tiny razor teeth, right? And does the big, over-exaggerated smile, and she says, "Oh, well, hello there. You're Ezrah, right?"
Yeah, yes. We're kind of recovering our wounds. Can you come back later?
Oh, well, I'm really just stopping by on my way.
Well, it was a pleasure. See you later.
Sensed some familiar presences here, so I thought I might drop by and see who it was.
Yeah. You found us. We'll see you later. We don't mean to impose.
Interesting.
Yeah, very.
Ah, last time I was here, there were some not so friendly drow. Yes. I
much
wonder
more
where they
amicable
are
now,
now.
I mean,
rooms over.
there were some drow that we dispensed of, but I don't know if that was the same group that laid claim to this isle.
Oh, very interesting. They're not
So
far, are they?
I mean, that on the other side of the river, a couple of rooms in, I think.
Oh, that's a bit out of my way. Do be a dear in the future. Try not to leave corpses laying around. They do much better in the river, yes?
I will make note. Thank you for the piece of advice.
Yeah. We try to keep things nice and tidy around here.
Yeah, the drow left some lizard bodies
Ah,
rotting, so
how
we followed suit.
terribly
thinking that-
gauche of them. You should be better. Yes.
Sure.
You have such an interesting complexion, dear boy.
Thanks.
Such beautiful skin.
If you say so.
Oh.
Didn't you say you had errands to run? I don't want to impose on you.
Oh, I'm in no rush. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
You really should come visit more often.
I mean, we just met. I don't know.
What's the phrase? The cut of your jib.
Really? She knows nautical terms?
She's a sea hag.
Yeah.
So
I like how he's the only one being critical. We're all like, oh. Alright.
So she looks at you and she kind of like, she gives you this big eye. She kind of like smacks her lips a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Well, I must be on my way. Oh. You just positively freak of magic, dear boy. You should
Hey, bro, you stank.
You should learn to control
Get that
that.
stinks, man.
Working on it. Thank you for the advice, though. It was a pleasure seeing you again.
Have you ever gone to school?
Yes, kind of. I had a tutor for a short while, but yeah. That didn't work out.
Interesting. I have a cousin,
Oh,
Worm Riddle.
Worm Riddle.
She used to be an excellent teacher. These days, though, I'm not sure how much teaching she does.
But with the worms.
I could always search her out if you're interested.
No need to go out of your way. I
Oh, it
appreciate-
wouldn't be a bother, I promise.
Let me get back to you on that one. I'll need to think it over.
Well, you, dearie, don't be a stranger. And she just, like, very slowly, like, agonizingly slowly, like, lowers her head back over under the ledge, right? And she, like, hangs there for a second when it's just eyes, looking at you. Blinks a couple times. And then she just, like, whoosh, ducks and is gone.
Bowling.
Well, that was
We're asleep. You're talking to yourself.
I am talking to myself. That is correct.
Just making sure.
That is very accurate.
You want to do anything?
I am keeping my eyes on the passage and trying to make sure that I don't fuck up my watch.
Okay, gotcha. The next short amount of time passes smoothly, right? You're still kind of like left with that goosebumps feeling. It doesn't go away very quickly.
I didn't want to sleep here in the first place.
The damp chill doesn't make it any better after the encounter, right? But nothing else seems to happen. And within another 2 hours, or hour and a half or so, everyone else begins to rouse from their slumber. You all kind of go through the motions of awakening, right? Relieving yourself, cleaning up with a little bit of water, breaking your fast, that type of thing. Is there anything special anyone wants to do in particular?
I'm gonna try out my new boots and walk up the wall.
Okay.
We could recover.
You guys are good to gain the benefits of a long rest now. Okay.
Damn, makes you harass that person to leaving.
I harassed someone?
Yeah. You wrote a last
Okay.
message in chat. That makes it your fault.
Oh, of course.
We were talking with a viewer for a second.
I never even saw anything they wrote. I just saw you guys say Dungeons and Dragons, Flails and Flagons, and I said Wiggles and Wagons.
Wiggles and wagons. All right.
Half of 3 is 2.
Half of 3 is 2. What?
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting hit dice back, right?
Oh yes, yeah. You are getting hit dice back. Yeah. Okay, so Matashtai, you try your graves out, right? So what do you do?
I just kind of tentatively put a foot on the wall.
Okay.
And
So you
then-
now have 1 foot on the ground and 1 foot on the wall.
Uh-huh. And then I'm gonna try and lift my foot up to try and walk up the wall.
It feels just like you're taking another step from floor to floor.
Okay, I take a couple more steps, start walking up the wall.
So you all watch as... So now the wall is all uneven and craggy and everything like that, so you're having to, like, kind of pick your way up the wall, right? But you all watch as Matashtai basically goes... Walks about 10 or 15 feet up the wall and is just standing sideways.
Y'all seeing this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yep.
Yeah, I'm
That's
seeing it.
good. Good stuff.
Hell yeah, and I try to do a flip off the wall.
Okay, now that will...
Don't hurt yourself.
That will take an acrobatics, actually.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a flip off the wall and try to the superhero landing.
Okay. Ooh, okay, yeah. It's sufficient. It is not the most graceful thing upon existence, but it is...
I can get some practice.
Yeah, it's also not like the worst thing ever, right? It's not a veteran gymnast, but it's an experienced gymnast. You know, that type of thing, right? So you You take the moment, right? Realize that your boots or your greaves are basically like acting as a weird sort of gravity for you right now, right? And then you bend at the knees for a second and you push off, but you don't just push straight outwards, you push like kind of upwards. So as soon as that connection breaks, you have a little bit of time to like throw your legs back underneath yourself and flip downwards.
I can't help but imagine the fiddler crab that was wearing these before him was doing the exact same shit.
He was the most graceful crab ever.
Was.
Once upon a time. Well, now he is the most regal crab ever. So,
Yep.
the world is your oyster. What would you like to do, fellas?
All right, what were we working on again? Most recently,
We're
Fucking
I think we're
surviving?
looking.
All right, we're looking for fucking Aatrox, right?
Yes.
Aatrox.
Aatrox. What?
Is that his name? What the fuck is his name?
Oh
Ezrah.
my god, I
That's-
need to put Aatrox into this fucking dungeon. Holy shit.
No, we don't need a.
That was pretty
Oh,
close.
Ooh.
Aatrox,
right.
Adrock. Yeah, I basically got there.
Oh yeah, I forgot. We're trying to find this hobgoblin. All right, and did we think he was down here to the southwest?
No. No, we did not.
The northwest.
I have no memory about what we thought.
We
Was
just
there.
are covering our basic.
But isn't
We're
north of
exploring.
us right now going through the Drow area?
No.
Well, you all do have a handy dandy
Yeah.
reference map.
We need to go
The
north.
dry area is like way up. We got, so we can go north and explore. We haven't been up there
There
yet.
is an unexplored area to the north, just pretty much due north of here.
We
All
ran
right,
into a T and just
let's
stopped.
Let's check it out.
Okay.
All right.
I grab a rope.
Okay,
Hold
so
on. Hold on. Whose watch did we hear elves?
that would be
Right.
Ashes, which was the third watch.
Okay. Did you share that?
I did.
He roused
Exactly.
everyone. He woke
You
everyone
guys
up.
because of it.
Okay. Oh yeah, you did. Okay. Then I'm gonna say, if I were them elves, I'd probably be waiting over there in ambush because there's only one way out of here. So let's be ready for this.
Hey, Ashes, why don't you go check it out? Yeah.
Yeah, tell you what, when they
grab a
wool
rope.
to drive them cattle, they wait at
Right.
the choke point.
Swing across.
Bones, you got that accent too now.
Okay.
You're never gonna get anywhere in these conversations.
So you guys begin the process of swinging across.
Yeah. We swang and big swang.
Big swing.
Are you doing anything special, or are you just grabbing a rope and swinging across, Ashes?
I am just grabbing the rope, swinging across.
Roll me an athletics check.
I will roll you one athletics check. That's kind of athletics. Up a chow. Oof. Nailed it. Don't worry about the roll. I nailed it.
Ashes,
I would like to hold on.
You don't. He might have made it. You don't know.
I am going to make this decision before that. I'm going to use my GM inspiration die to try and correct Ashes as he leaps off. I'm going to give him my inspiration. We do not need a super heavy voice sinking into the river.
A little better.
Ashes steps forward, maybe a little more confidently than usual. A nice cave sleep has done him well, I guess. I don't. He swings across without issue.
Thank you,
Lands on the other
man.
side.
Out of
Plants,
curiosity, would he have fallen in?
he would not have made it, and he would have had to do another check to see whether or not he was going to fall in.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
We lost the Zachariah.
We lost our layout.
Oh no. The layout is broken. And I don't have the backup layouts to go to because I haven't fixed them since moving to the new Discord scenario.
Oh shit.
Mitch is
Zach's
also
gone too. Or not Zach, Mitch.
Mitch is still in, but
Zach 1 and Zach 2.
to close that.
I fuck up names so much.
And then oh. Okay, well, in a momento while we get this technical difficulty sorted out. No big.
What server are we on? Or what,
Good question.
I don't know.
is that
I don't even know how to
something
check
with servers?
Focus. Focus? Oh, focus.
Huh. Detects Discord as down, but we're still connected. Weird.
Or are we? And we've just developed telepathic abilities.
Alright, well, we're gonna go to break real quick while we try to sort out the difficulties. But
Yay.
hopefully we'll be back pretty soon. See you in a bit. Hey! Hey everybody, we're back. Technical difficulties. Discord had some server issues or something like that, but we're all back now. So, let us pick up where we left off. Ashes had just been narrowly saved by Matashtai's divine inspiration. And has just swung across the gap of the Sargoth River to the other side, to the northern side of Crossfire Gap. And
It's cold.
and Ashes,
Crossfire Gap.
you hear nothing on the other side.
Then I await my allies.
All right,
All right, I'll take a running jump. I don't give a shit.
are you
I go.
running jump to?
I grab a fucking rope.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. All right,
I don't think I can jump 40 feet. Like I'm awesome, but like that's really far away.
okie dokie. Go ahead and roll me an athletics.
11.
Okay.
Every other time it's been acrobatics, but that's fine.
It has been acrobatics. I decided to do athletics.
He hates you.
Well, it
Just
hasn't
fuck
been
me.
every other time. It's been tonight has been athletics. The prior engagement was acrobatics.
I know. I'm salty
Why are you salty?
because my acrobatics is a +10.
Sure. Maybe between now and then I realize that running and jumping and swinging on a rope is probably more of an athletic feat than an acrobatic feat.
Maybe you're empirically wrong.
Maybe. Regardless, an 11 is. It's not graceful.
Yeah, whatever.
And you kind of have to like you toe the ledge right as you're kind of like going across, and Ashes puts out a friendly hand to like drag you the rest of the way, but you're over. Now,
Oh yeah.
both of the ropes are now on the north side.
Oh, that's right. There's only 2
Ropes.
If you start swinging one over, I can catch it with my magic.
I'll grab one and I'll.
You do the fucking
well,
rope
yeah,
stuff.
Yeah, I'll get some slack in there. So maybe a whip across.
Okay. Do the. Give me an athletics.
I believe in you.
Hey, Chaw. Oh, God.
You
Yikes.
you do that little like slack thing and whip, and it goes, and it just kind of like bounces towards the center. Ezra, how far is
30.
30 feet? Probably have enough. Yeah, you have enough to reach out and grab it. So so it doesn't really like go forward to Ezra. It kind of like bounces a little bit, and it starts to like just in the middle. And Ezra reaches out with his mage hand to just go the distance and pull it across. And you all hear this. You all hear this kind of like bubbling over the sound of the gurgling river, right? You hear this. And right as Ezra kind of like snatches the rope with the mage hand and begins to tow it back, you all see a silvery finned shape go out of the river towards the rope and miss the rope just barely because Ezra is moving it, and it goes back and it like splooshes. It's big cannonball splash as it goes back into the river. It's a
Like a fish?
big fish, like
Oh, Lord.
bigger than you fish.
I don't want to get eaten by a fish.
But Ezra, you tow the rope back over to you, and now you have one rope in front of you.
I hand it to Matt and say, "Have fun."
Okay. Okay.
At this point, you should just walk across the ceiling.
That's a good point. I think I would like to do that. I'm gonna hand
Spider
Ezra
climb at
the
will?
rope.
Damn.
Is it just free spider climb forever?
So Matashtai, you get up. So you go over to one of the nearby walls, right? You get up about 10 or 15 feet, right? And then you feel something kind of buckle. You take a step, right? And you feel and hear this kind of like, and your feet kind of like come off the wall out from underneath you, and you immediately like you kind of like go instinctually into this tumble, right? And an acrobatics check.
Okay. Oh, it was an 18. God damn it.
Okay, you are.
So they're not always spider climbing.
You are unsuccessful in catching yourself. You fall the roughly 10 feet. It's 1d6 per 10, right?
Yes.
I cannot take damage
you
from
take-
that.
Huh? Oh, you cause you're a monk, and monks have, what is it?
Slow fall.
Feather fall or some bullshit.
It's slow fall.
There you
And
go.
technically, I think you have to fall 20 feet before you take any damage, anyways. I
Yeah.
don't
Well-
think you take damage from the first 10.
In a normal situation, right? Like if you like jump off a building or something like that, but he's literally horizontal and then falling 10 feet onto his back is the only reason why. Yeah. So, but he is a monk, and so,
I don't know. I'm not an adventurer. I feel like I can fall 10 feet and be okay.
Really? I think you fall
I
10
don't.
feet.
I feel like I'd break
I
it
feel like
free.
Yeah, you could break a bone, or at the
3 feet without hurting him.
I
at the
don't think
least
so.
you're gonna knock the wind out of yourself, and
We've
that's
fallen
what.
off of
So
the house before, and it hadn't had caused a problem.
Yeah, I fell off a house before, but that was when I was like 12. I could literally bounce
That's
off.
the prime of his life. You're Jay,
that's very true.
the 12-year-old.
So I think.
What the fuck?
So I think here's the thing. I'm not sure in this scenario it makes the slow fall ability makes sense. I'm not sure if you have time for a reaction, but regardless, I think we're just gonna ignore the whole thing. Whether you don't take any damage, right? The important thing here is that you fall on your ass, right? Like you fall off the wall onto your back. And you look down and you can see where you had been walking up the wall. And you realize right on the river, right? These cavern walls are just damp and slick. Your boots of spider climbing are always active, but they don't work on slick surfaces.
Okay. Got it.
So,
All right, well, I'm
lesson
swinging
learned
then.
in a semi-controlled setting.
I'm
So,
gonna get a swing on then.
I hand the rope back to him.
okay.
I would like to swing. My
Swing.
Athletics.
Athletics.
Swing. Nope. I'm going in the water.
Oh,
Hey,
gosh.
wait, I'll use my DM inspiration that I have to encourage Matashtai as a swing. I see a flaw in his form, and I shout at him the correction he needs to make, so that instead he rolls.
Oh, sorry. I gotta roll it again.
Instead, he rolls. Oh,
Nat 20.
absolutely. Okay, fantastic, right? So there's a world where Ashes sees Matashtai stumble, and like the ledge crumbles a little bit as Matashtai like takes his last step, and he goes just into the river. But whatever touch of inspiration that Ashes has, that the future that he sees does not come to pass. Blinks it away, and Matashtai snatches the rope after his moment of like, well, shit about the creeps, right? Well, shit. And just like, okay, and just fine, I'll do it this way. Toot, 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 grabs the rope and swings across. No harm, no foul.
You know what? After I know that there's something in the water now, I think it's very important that we have nobody fall in the water.
Ezra, do you want me to send the rope of climbing over to your side and like we can pull you across?
What is the length on the rope?
100 feet.
Yeah, I would say if you can adhere it to one of the swinging ropes, I can potentially obtain it that way. And then I can fasten it to myself and attempt to not fall and be eaten and have you as my safeguard.
Sure. Okay.
So
I
y'all are gonna
take out the rope.
Okay.
I take out the rope and I say, "Wrap around Ezra."
I really am like Matashtai is over there and he pulls out the rope and he just goes Bunkai. Right? Oh, sorry.
Start like Spider-Man.
Yeah, so the rope just like goes out. So you're not only are you're taking a rope, a swinging rope over to Ezra, but you're also intent on afterwards tying it around Ezra, and then Ezra, you're gonna swing on the regular rope. Is that the plan?
what is the slack on the regular rope? Like, is the raising the ground when I get to it? Is there a little extra lead? Is there no
There's a
lead?
little
What's
extra
the-
lead. There's about maybe a foot or a half a foot of lead.
So Ezra's going to think back to pulley systems and try to fasten the rope in a way to create a loop for him to put his foot into.
Okay. You can do that. Here's an issue that Ezra would notice immediately right off the bat. The side that you are on is 8 feet up. So
Yep.
as the rope touches this side, you got about a foot of slack. Okay? So if you use about a foot and a half or 2 of that slack to create a loop, right? You're making it just above. The other side is 6 feet high. So you're gimping yourself by like 3 feet in doing that.
I'll catch you.
That's why I've got the lead rope and
Okay.
my friends.
Just making sure.
Yep.
All right. So that's simple enough for you to do.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I think about how I don't want to die.
Look, if you get 8, just fucking go Pikachu in there and zap the shit out of him.
Pikachu!
Do that. Athletics.
That's athletics. Yep. So all of that, and Ezra takes a little bit of a short running start and leaps across and makes it the majority of the way just fine, except that now you have jipped yourself about 3 feet, so you're about 3 feet out as you start to swing up, and you realize you're not gonna touch, your foot is in the loop, you're not gonna touch the edge, so it's like y'all are gonna have to like grab him or yank him over with the rope or something. So what's the last little bit?
Ow!
Chew.
Chew?
Chew.
So
I mean, I'll snap if I can reach him. I'll grab his foot or I'll grab his ankle.
um
Bro, you reached 3 feet? You're a god.
sorry, what?
You're a god of reaching.
Well, I don't know how far
Well, there's
away.
the rope that's wrapped around.
He's
him.
a god!
Oh, that's right. He does
yeah,
have
that's
a rope
Matashtai
around
has
him, so
that.
he just-
So
And hopefully not break
Go.
my ankle.
And we go with it.
okay. Whoever is yoinking Matashtai, roll me an athletics check. Or not yoinking Matashtai. Whoever's yoinking Ezra, roll me an athletics check.
I'll grab
His
it.
name is Ashes and he
Oh,
dances in the sand.
Yeah, get it.
Yeah, I got him.
There's a moment, right? You all watch this happen. You watch as Ezra swings out across the river, and he makes the jump, but the reality of the situation that he's putting himself in, right? It causes him some issue, and then you all have to kind of respond by taking that final step. The trick is as Ezra is pulled the last few feet across the gap, right? You all hear another couple,
No, no, Paul! No! No!
right? And you look down, right? And
I
you
don't-
see, or someone looks down so I can describe this, and whoever that person is sees multiple dark shadows in the water, right?
Uh-oh.
You see several of these large fish creatures, just circling this section in the water. Because basically what they've been seeing for the last few minutes is food swing across the gap, over and over again. So you guys yoink Ezrah across. What do you do with the ropes?
Fucking leave him. I don't know. Tie him to a rock.
So there are little anchors that had been made on either side, right? To be able to basically like put the ends of the rope under a rock, that type of thing. You wanna?
We do that.
Is that what you want to do? Are you guys
Yeah.
leaving them anchored on this side?
Yes, please.
Okay. Sure. So, Ezrah is now on the other side.
Yay!
We did it.
I live once
It
more.
just took 2 inspiration dice and a lot of time.
Yes.
A
bit. So, you all are now on the other side of the river, on the other side of the gap. The northern tunnel lies open to you. What do you want to do?
We head north.
Okay.
Watch
It's time for some venturing, some hardcore venturing.
So as you head north, right, you reach that very first offshoot tunnel that you had taken previously. That led you east and south to the troglodyte bodies and the archway, the stone archway. Right?
Oh, wait, the one of the hags visited while you guys were sleeping, and she said that we should dispense of the bodies into the river because upkeep.
You know, they're like way down there, and there were a lot of them.
I mean, I'm just telling you what she said. She said it would be
We want to stay in good favor.
appreciated.
I mean, did she say we'll be mad at you if you don't do this?
I mean, are you able to determine the intent of the creatures? Because they just gave me the heebie-jeebies.
Yes, I am. I'm a god at that.
Well, good, because I have no idea. She just terrifies me.
He's a god.
She just kept staring at me. It was weird. I didn't like it.
I mean, if you guys want, we can go and get him. Taking a vote. Anyone? Go and get him. Go and get him. Go and get him. No one raised their hand. All right,
I don't want to go.
I'm gonna be honest. Manual labor doesn't seem super awesome right now.
Yeah, fuck that. I'll walk off.
Okay, can't
Alright.
say I didn't try.
You guys head to the north, right, where you find the next intersection. To the east is where you had come from, the beachhead, where you left the drow raft, the beach where you had first seen the ferryman, the beach with the dwarven faced doors.
You mean the thing that Jay nearly got smooshed by?
Yes.
I got gooshed.
To the north. I don't know.
So we'll
To the
say
north.
it would be interesting to see what these giant fish do with some fresh corpses.
I'm gonna take a wild guess and say they eat them.
All right, fucking Killjoy, let's go.
Okay. So
We walk north with a purpose.
you begin
Ooh,
to
okay.
head northward.
Where's my person? There I am.
My
Do, do,
purpose.
do, 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 do. I stopped.
Okay. So the tunnel itself, right, is seems to be a natural tunnel with occasional markings right here or there of perhaps some stonework, right? Not like someone came through here and made a hallway, but more like someone came through these tunnels and widened them a bit here, smoothed out some jagged features there, that type of thing. The whole place is relatively smooth. It just looks like the concept of like as you're walking through, right? It's uneven floor and you're walking through, but you see places where thousands of thousands of feet, right, have been placed before you, right? You'll see, you'll
Thousands
come
of
to a
foot.
bend, and your hand will touch a portion of the wall, right? And it's just worn smooth right there, and it's slightly discolored, as if thousands of hands had touched that same wall before you, right? So it just shows the signs of being well traversed, basically.
COVID.
COVID. So, it continues northward, narrowing and widening as it goes.
Do, 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 do.
Then it hooks east and begins to bell out.
Bellin.
And you find yourself in a much larger area with what looks to be like a wide semi-natural tunnel heading westward and a very controlled, carved hallway to the east. And then there's another tunnel heading northward, right? But
Always
this
leads
one
super
is
awesome
just
fun.
filled with debris and looks to have collapsed.
I think we should go right. What do you think?
Won't that bring us back to the drill?
Just
We don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
I think if my attention to location is correct, then
Controlled carved stuff normally leads to awesome things. Or deadly
Like-
trap.
like the carved tunnel that the Dro escort left us in and said go
Yep.
left.
there's a door over here.
Ah,
Yeah.
as you
there's a
kind
door.
of round the corner, you do see a little ways down the carved hallway is a door on the south side.
Yeah.
Do
All right.
we-
Let's check it out, bros. Let's check it out.
I
Homies.
listen.
As
Is there
you
anything over there?
approach the door, right? You see that it
So ready
is
for vengeance.
very similar to a door that you have seen before. It is it's uncharacteristically wide, right?
Mhm.
And it is flanked by bas-relief carvings of dwarves with their faces chipped away.
Is it so it looks like the door that smooshed me?
It looks like the door that smooshed you.
All right, left we go.
This door does have a entryway, a clear handle. So this looks like the outer door of the door that smushed you.
Yeah. Like, this is the actual way in.
Oh, well, by all means.
I open it.
I'll check it out from over here.
I open it right now.
Okay,
I use my cat arm to open the door.
So-
Not my normal arm.
you
My cat arm.
open the door.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, you open the door. You see within this small antechamber is unadorned, though it does mimic the rather wide style of the door. It looks almost identical to the previous antechamber that you had seen, except in the middle of this antechamber, in the middle of the hallway, is a roughly 4x4 square block of smooth stone, and a dark reddish-brown stain coats the floor underneath it. And you can see
I
a
squat down.
gnarled green hand protruding from beneath the stone.
I squat down like a cat Horatio can. And I say, looks like something's weighing on him.
Yeah! Oh, I like it. Good job. DM inspiration, Zach. DM inspiration.
I already had it.
God damn it. Use it. Holy shit. Oh, also, just like in the other location, flanking the door to the south are dwarves whose faces and beards have been chiseled away.
All right, before I go in, I'm gonna look up because there's another 4x4 area that I feel like a stone could literally fall on me.
Sure.
Are there any stones hanging up there, ready to fall?
I mean, the roof is made of stone.
Is there a chute for stone delivery?
There's a space where there could be.
Where? Is it above the other rock, or is it
So,
above?
if I do a little bit of a drawing for you, real quick.
Yeah, give me a little drawing.
Little drawing. The first stone is roughly here, right? And so, just to the south of it, the next 4x4 section, right? That the ceiling above it could contain another squish block. It has the space for it.
Alright, I'm gonna be real fucking careful then.
Okay.
And I'll just be like, I'm gonna squeeze on the wall.
Okay.
Nobody's dropping a fucking stone on the side of the wall. I said squeeze. Oh, I can go in the wall there. Okay. Squeeze.
Squeeze. Okay, so you squeeze.
I squeeze all the way to the other
all the
side.
way to the door, and you
Yeah.
find almost identical, the same type of setup as the other doorway.
There's no like handle or fucking.
There's
way to
no
open it?
visible opening mechanism. There's no visible lock. Nothing. It's
Alright, I'll push
obviously
on.
a doorway, right? You see like a massive stone frame, very wide, but a massive stone frame, and there's a solid just door of stone. But there's no handle, there's no key port, there's nothing.
Alright, I push on. I'd be like, open, please.
You push on it,
Please
and
open.
it's the same resistance as stone.
I say, open, please, in Dwarvish. Please open.
You say
Fuck you.
open please in Dwarvish.
Yeah. Why
Okay.
not?
Uh,
Dwarves everywhere. Open.
you say the phrase in Dwarvish,
Abracadabra.
and the stone of the doorway kind of, it just rumbles just ever so slightly, but it doesn't
Damn, you
it
gotta
doesn't
say something
move, it
Dwarvish.
doesn't give, it doesn't functionally do anything.
Start reading what's on the side of your key.
What's on the side of my key? That's
Yeah,
like
that
this,
key had
the,
dwarven on it, didn't it?
the slither thingy. Alright, I read what's on the side of the key.
In Dwarvish,
In Dwarvish. Isn't it written in Dwarvish?
it is.
I read it in Dwarvish.
Okay, so you
I'm a
read
dwarf
that
cat.
out,
I'm like
and
Grumpy Cat.
huh?
I'm like Grumpy Cat. Dwarf Cat.
Okay. You read it out, and you get a similar reaction, right? You get this minor vibration from the stone, but it doesn't do anything. Nothing
There's gotta be like
actually
a password,
happens.
like a dwarf password. Is there anything like written around here? Like above the door, around the door?
So there's nothing written. There
Instructions?
are just the only artwork or anything that is. Remember, the antechambers and doorways are unadorned except for the
Except for
two
the-
dwarves
Yeah.
flanking either door.
Yeah. Alright, well I don't have any. I mean I fucking sneak back over here. I'm
Okay.
like, there's a password, it's gotta be in Dwarven. I don't know what the hell it is. Probably. I don't know. When I said Dwarven things, it almost opened, kind of. It thought about it, maybe.
I don't really speak Dwarven, so I don't know that I can help you much there.
I mean,
I
I'm
don't think it
probably
much
not
matters
terrible,
until we play.
but Dwarven is not my forte either.
Well, I'm pretty familiar with the dwarves. You know, they were all over my home, but you know, it's just like can't try every word.
Just sit there for hours. Like, you guys camp here for the next, like, 7 days as Bones just tries words at this fucking
Pulls
door.
out a Dwarven dictionary and alphabetically just starts.
Shit.
So, I guess eventually, maybe. All right,
Cool.
Whatever. Let's leave. What's over here? I look
All right.
around. I keep going.
So you take a little jog down the hall to the east. It dips slightly southward, curves east, and then goes back north to a familiar-looking area. This is the area that your drow escort left you at.
Oh, hey, this is where we immediately did the opposite of what he told us to do.
Yes.
Oh, isn't it? Oh, hey, here's the river and everything. Wow. Okay.
Cool, let's go back.
Yeah, let's go back. Fuck this. Wow. This could have been so simple.
He did tell you guys to go west when he left you.
Technically, we did. Just a very
Wow, we made
roundabout
this
way.
hard. All right.
I
We
feel like
explored so much.
told that too.
Okay. So after the exploring of the dwarven architecture, you head back to the wide tunnel. So right here, kind of like at this opening, it's very clear that there's been work done on the walls to widen them and smooth them out. But the further you go in, the more it turns back into that kind of more natural tunneling that you guys were in previously, right? Where there's sections that clearly have been worked just to kind of like widen the tunnel or remove dangerous objects or things like that, and it's very well worn. But otherwise, it's not stonework. So it continues to the northwest.
Okay. Yeah. Let's just continuing on. These fucking.
And then wraps
Walking
to the
around.
southwest. You hear
I hear wind blows.
Or something breathing.
the
Oh,
tunnel.
that's a good point.
Continues to
I enter
curve
stealth.
southeastward.
It
Ezra's
could be
gonna
something breathing.
take a moment and pop mage armor from the Hasnaketa.
Okay.
Smart. Smart.
If you'd like to stealth, go ahead and roll stealth for me.
I also would like to stealth.
I enter
I am
stealth.
fucking killing it with rolls today.
Same.
Super good. Okay. So, you guys continue forward.
Now, what is this? What is this suspicious little alcove?
So as you
Yeah,
see
put
this,
get all
get
up
up in
in
there. Oh, get all up in there.
you see a suspicious looking alcove that is actually about body size. Definitely large enough for someone to hide in and try to ambush a person, right?
Yeah, you're good.
And
Need
it
to
looks
stop time.
it looks like it was maybe made with a combination of originally dripping water. There is a little bit of a small stalactite up above it, but it's too big to have just been made by that. But it's been hollowed out intentionally.
I whisper to everyone, I'm like, that is an ambush spot if I've ever seen one in my whole life.
Pretty goddamn bushy. I agree with you.
I
So
keep
as
going.
you head further, right, the tunnel begins to dip slightly downward, like the actual elevation, not just like going southward. It begins to dip downward, and it becomes very uneven under your feet. You have to kind of pick and choose your steps a little more carefully as the steepness inclines.
Are there any holes or anything in the ceiling?
Oh,
So there's
As
nothing that
for a
stands
block.
out. there are portions where the ceiling is higher, right? There are portions where there's like not like a hole that just disappears into nothingness, but there's a portion where there's like a section that'll be carved out or something like that. And there's tiny holes and cracks and rivulets of water.
It strikes me as the boulder's gonna shoot out and try and crush me again.
No. Almost as soon as you guys round this corner, right? The steep degrade in elevation begins to go back up, right? And you find yourself kind of like moving back up for about 10 or 15 feet.
Gradient, or
it's not incredibly steep. It's less than the 40-degree angle.
I'm trying to keep like 20
So-
feet in front of Ashes.
Sounds good.
Feet, because he's loud. He's a loud fuck.
So you go through this winding curvature, right? And as you begin to press southward again, right? You hear almost immediately, right?
Look, you can go on the wall here.
Well, don't do that.
Well, I mean, I can't clip through it. I'm just in the wall.
Give me just a second.
Alright, I'm stopped.
Don't move or anything.
I'm not. I'm
Okay.
stopped. Calm down. You're so angry.
Relax, Jeremy.
It's not so.
Jeremy, your
angry.
blood
I'm not
pressure!
freaking out. You hear right. You hear shouting. You hear. I say shouting. You hear a shout come up. In Goblinoid, right? And Ashes. Because it kind of it echoes down the hallway, right? How far ahead of them are you, Zach?
25 feet.
Then move yourself. Hold up. Give me
5,
just
10,
a second.
15,
Don't.
20, 25. Okay, I'll go
So
back.
this would be about right here when this actually happens. So I'm gonna move them back, and then you said 25 feet.
Yeah.
So you'd be about right there. So you can see.
Only Ashes, just because he's loud. Matt can be up here.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he's not
So
the
so
loudest
what it
fucker
is
ever.
you can see this creature as it starts shouting, right? And he's not reacting to you. He's reacting to the light from Matashtai. Right? Because that is the point where Matashtai's light begins to filter around that corner behind you. And this creature sees the light and shouts out in Goblinoid, right? He basically just shouts out, "Someone's coming!" Ashes, and you can hear it kind of like echo down the hallway because he does it loudly, like he doesn't do it quietly. And then you all hear this kind of like
I don't
rush
know
of
Goblin
boots,
noise, so I'm gonna take it as disrespect.
right?
What'd you say to me?
Oh, do you
I'm
know
gonna arm
Goblinoid?
myself. No, I'm gonna say I don't know Goblinoid, so I'm gonna take it as disrespect and arm myself.
Okay.
Daggers
you
out.
do.
Yeah, as one would do.
Probably be over there actually.
I just wait for everyone. We're made now, so I just wait for people to catch up.
Okay, gotcha.
I assume. I don't know if we are or not, but
So you hear that initial like yell, right? And then you hear the rush of like obviously individuals running, right? Like rushing into position or something, right? But then afterward, it falls quiet.
okay.
As Matashtai approaches, right, as his light reaches this intersection to the south, right, you hear a voice call out in a kind of it's common mixed with little doses of undercommon, and neither of them is spoken comfortably, right? Like neither of them is a first language. So you hear this voice call out, and it says, "Hold! You there! state your intentions. You trespass in the lands of the Legion.
I'll
we're in the right spot.
You guys made it. Good job.
Yeah. I'll step forward and in Goblinoid, I'll say, we've come to parley with Ezrah.
Approach no further until this has been determined. Wait for my command. Otherwise, you will be fired upon.
Now, was that in Goblinoid or was that in Undercommon Common?
It's Undercommon Common.
All right.
I need names.
I am Ashes.
I'm Matt.
My name's Ezra.
That's my name. Bones was the one who spoke.
He's also Ezra. There's two Ezras.
There aren't. He's lying. He's kidding. He's kidding. He's not lying. He's kidding.
I start laughing in the tunnel.
From now
There
on,
are 4 of you,
Yes, 4.
and you said your intention was parley.
I mean, I think that's what he said. I didn't understand what he said. Did you understand what he said?
I don't understand what he said.
We are here to meet with your leader, yes.
You bring tribute to Azrock.
Oh shit! Can we forget about that?
we 100% forgot about tribute, but hold on.
I got some bones. I give him some bones. You want me to give him some bones?
We
Did
were
they say?
just
I don't
by
remember what
some
kind
dead
of tribute
drow
they were.
too. We could have.
Damn, that's what we were gonna do with the dead drow. Shit. Oh well.
We completely talked about severed drow heads,
Look, I've got 20 owlbear claws. He can have those.
and they didn't really said they cared much about money, right?
Well, so the Coven said in their talks with you that Azrock is accustomed to receiving some sort of tribute from visitors. That can be in the form of money or gifts or goods or services. Typically, though, he just takes a vow of fealty.
Oh well, I'm not vowing to fealty him, so
Here, I got some Drider fangs. Anybody want to give him 4 Drider fangs? It's
I've
drow adjacent.
got.
I mean, our services could be rendered if he has something he needs us to do. That could be the payment.
I've got
Your
some
choice
art
of
objects.
tribute is your own. I care not.
Well, I was really discussing it with my party, not you.
Well, Ezra said out. I'm assuming that was out. It sounded like he was addressing
that
the
was
guy.
me talking to
Oh, okay. Then never mind. Ignore what I said then.
Yeah, we have tribute.
I bring forth a small gold bracelet.
I will give
not here.
up.
He's not here. He's just confirming
I
we
think
have
he's just
something.
making sure that we have something because he doesn't want to
Yeah.
get angry Azra.
He doesn't want to get executed because he failed to do his job.
Now you're thinking like hobgoblins.
Oh, me, yes. Ezra has no fucking idea.
I have a 400-pound keg of Malarkin ale. I bet you he'd love that.
You hear?
No,
You hear?
ours.
Do
We
not test
don't
my
need that.
patience. Do you offer tribute
that's
or
fucking
not?
big.
Yes,
Yeah,
we offer
got-
tribute.
we're tributing. We're tribbing.
Note: visitors to Stromkolder are protected, but they are duty-bound by our laws. You will steal nothing. You will harm no one.
Is that it? That's very reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, 100%. It's great. Cool.
and you will obey the Legion.
Ah, okay, now we're getting into the more fascist side.
Yeah.
Yes, Supreme Leader.
Suffer these things, and your visit will be a pleasant one.
Damn, I want them to say that when you enter Germany. Suffer our laws and enjoy.
This is step into the opening with your hands up.
And make sure all my weapons are stowed. I very slowly make my way out.
Okay. As soon as you round the corner, dozens of bowstrings twang.
Wow, peace out, bro.
No. But as soon as you round the corner, you see a number of things, right? You see a set of cobbled together fortifications behind which a squad of reddish-skinned humanoids stand in heavy armor, weapons at the ready. There is a row wielding longswords and shields in the front, and behind them is another row with longbows, arrows knocked. Off to one side, up here, right? One of these creatures stands, handheld, raised in a halting motion, right? This individual wears a long red sash across their chest, distinguishing them from the others. And it is this individual that speaks. So as you kind of enter, right, he raises his hand. Says, I am Cleuse, Skull Cleaver. You are here on my watch. No, if you make trouble, I will deal with you myself.
Okay.
Fair. Sounds fair.
Before you enter Stromkolder, what news have you from whence you've come?
News.
Did you know that there's a bunch of drow that want you dead?
Didn't realize we did.
I hear a mouse from the tunnel beyond. Step forward, little mouse, if you wish to speak.
I just kind of like poke my head out. Hi,
We are aware of the drow, yes. Why we are here.
okay, good. That was news I wanted to make sure you were aware of.
You have met them.
Unfortunately.
I will report this. Okay. Do you guys do or say anything?
We just wait here, or
Nose clean. I'm like mentally I'm weighing right now. I'm like, are they being as douchey as the drow or less douchey as the drow? Like,
they seem
So-
less douchey so far.
Yeah, they do
They
seem
do seem less douchey.
So he
especially,
waits for a second.
Suffer our 3 rules, and you'll come out here with a good time. Maybe get a T-shirt when you leave. You check out the gift shop.
He waits for a
I
second.
like to what's its face stronghold.
And when none of you kind of like step forward or offer up any questions or issues or anything like that, he raises his hand and he gestures towards the 2 hobgoblins to the north, right? And he kind of in a growling command, he goes, Evric, Ukuk, lead them north. Take them to what would it be called? Basically whatever the hobgoblin word or goblin word, he probably doesn't say this in common or undercommon. I don't know what he would call it. But it's basically ashes, it's basically the word for customs.
Okay. Okay.
And he says, hand them off, then return. Your shift is not yet over. And he basically, like, eyes each of you, and says, be careful, adventurers.
Thanks. What was the name? Ukek?
You
Cleuse.
Epicac?
There's a lot of K's in Hobgoblin Society. Apparently.
So far, yeah. We've got Cleuse, Everick, Ukuk. We've got... Who is this guy? Nope, that's a C. Akavers.
But the real
Clell.
question, Jeremy, is how many H's are there?
K is pretty close
Surprisingly
to H. I really feel like
few,
Jeremy
actually.
just, shifted a few letters.
Actually, I don't see any H's in any of these.
Well, we know you didn't write these names then.
There's some H's up there. Anyways, so, the two hobgoblins to the north kind of grunt, right, at this command, and one of them heads off a little ways down this northern tunnel, and the other one just waits. And then he kind of like after a second or two passes, right? He kind of like gestures. Ugh! Yeah, he kind of like grunts at you and like gestures that direction.
Sure, we go. Sorry.
Okay, so I will kind of like move the hobgoblin forward as you guys kind of just
Ezra
say.
feels the hobgoblin breathing down the back of his neck.
Like he's right on top of you, Ezra. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
And if you delay, he'll do the gentle like. He doesn't like spear butt you in the back or anything like that, but he'll absolutely put like a palm on your shoulder and push.
These clowns took forever to move their pieces, and then I look away, and they all move, and then you give me shit. Oh,
No, I'm just letting you know because you're in the back.
You're in the back.
Okay.
Ezra's in the back, always in the back. He walks so slow, cause he's so weak.
Wow.
So it is as we get over to this point.
Wow, this looks like a fucking ambush.
So it's as we get over this point, right? As the hobgoblin kind of steps into this larger cave, and you all step in behind him. Hunkered here are several mangy-looking bugbears. They glower at you as you pass, you and your hobgoblin escort. From the look of the cavern, it's unlikely the bugbears live here permanently, but from the smell, it does seem like they may have been here for a while. The hobgoblin doesn't make, he doesn't look at them or talk to them or really do anything or say anything. But there is one of the bugbears that's kind of like up in the middle of the passageway, and the hobgoblin just stops for a second, right? And the bugbears are a good, like, foot and a half taller than the hobgoblins are. But the bugbear just kind of, like, glowers at him for a second, and then turns and moves towards the wall, out of his way. And then he keeps moving forward.
Damn, a little bit of unrest. All right, I dig it. Unrest in Goblin Town.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. Move me.
Get off of the... God damn it! Get off of the friggin' thing! So you come to the next section that we'll cover today on our tour. Let's see. So you guys come and you see there is an eastern tunnel that lets into a little cavern. As you kind of like walk off the beaten path, right? The hobgoblin kind of like, ugh. You were told to follow.
That was rule 3, Zach.
Technically, it wasn't rule 3, but okay,
while you did peek your head in there, right? You did see a large kind of like actually, let me just tell you what you saw. As you pass by this cave, and you looked inside, you can see and hear two goblins huddled in an alcove to the northeast, and they seem to be arguing with each other, right? But they're doing it so like together, like hushed. They're gesturing wildly at each other, and one of them is holding something, but he's like blocking it from vision. And how far did you poke in?
I don't know, fucking this far.
Okay, so to the south.
I go too far quickly.
So to the south, right? So that's how far you went, right? You just like scampered down the hallway real quick before the hobgoblin yelled at you, right? To the south, you see a narrow tunnel, and in the darkness there, you see some spherical shape just floating there in the darkness.
Oh, sweet. I turn around and leave. Fuck that.
So let me find the fucking hobgoblin that you guys are sitting on top of. Damn it.
Don't move me.
I swear to God, you fucks. Fine, you're all getting moved at the same time. I'm moving
That's
y'all.
actually what I wanted.
God
That
damn
was
it.
the goal from the beginning.
I could have just
Exactly
done
what I
that from the
wanted.
beginning.
I didn't
You
do
didn't
anything,
offer. You
Jeremy.
didn't offer, so I assume you didn't want to.
We're currently walking like a fucking totem pole.
You're the goblins in fucking. There's goblins in the shit. What's it called?
The market.
The Chult adventure, right? Tomb of Annihilation. There's goblins that do that. They walk on each other's shoulders as totem poles.
yeah.
That's awesome. I love that.
These little bastards got some good balance.
All right, so you guys head forward. Oh, and I shrink you, and then I
Oh God, we
teleport
fucking
you.
got fucking-
And this
oh,
is
shit.
why I didn't want to. God damn it!
Oh
right.
no, we've been
You're all
fucking
fucked.
pancaked.
Move yourselves off and fix yourselves.
Now I actually am like Grumpy Cat.
How do I fix my pancakedness?
So
Fucking
click your token, and adjust your size.
I can't.
Adjust my
Okay, well, I'll do it for you.
Where is that?
It's fixed. Mitch is now upside down. All right, so
I'll walk
you guys-
with a lean now.
you guys move forward further north, and you find another eastern hallway leading into a cavern. As you approach yet another cavern, you watch the two hobgoblins pull a cloth up out of their their armor, and they pull it up and they cover their faces, and they do that right as the smell hits you, and it is rank.
Okay.
To the right, you see this side cave is piled high with refuse, right? Just leftover waste of all kinds, and rotting corpses. Also of all kinds. Just as you kind of like take all of that in, right? Like the smell hits you. You're taken aback for a second, and you see the pile of refuse and bodies, and you realize, right, that this is just like a garbage heap. Right as that realization dawns on you, you hear this, and a tentacle shoots up out of the pile and slaps down onto the bloated corpse of a drow that immediately kind of squelches and bursts, right? And it just pulls it upwards to the top of the heap and then down inside out of your vision. and then you begin to hear just this disgusting mixture of sounds of crunching bones and releasing gases and squelching.
Gross.
Disgusting. Moving
I
on.
hurry along.
Okay. The hobgoblins also hurry along. They seem not super fans. So there is a bend to the east up here. And then there is a curve back northward. And find yourselves in the city of Strongholder. All right. Let me pull up my stuff real quick. All right. So immediately, as the two hobgoblins kind of like step forward, you step into this immense cave. Right, there are dozens of buildings dot the surrounding area, and large masses of rubble block your vision, mostly towards the northeast. Okay. So you see building. You see buildings off to your east, and then you see just this massive pile of like rubble and debris towards the northeast. The streets before you are narrow and choked with just rock and stone debris, rats scurrying through the muck. In ages past, these ruins might have once been a great settlement. But now they are forlorn. They're ruins. You hear the clink of chainmail, right? And you see off in the distance, down one of the side alleys, you see hobgoblins marching. You hear in the distance the sound of pickaxes and hammers echoing off of these stone buildings around you. You hear voices, you hear chatter, and you start to smell things that you haven't smelled down here in a while, right? You smell cooking, smell the telltale signs, the telltale smells of civilization. This is a ruin, perhaps. But there is industry here, and some sort of order being enforced by the... Perhaps it will not be a ruin for long. To the left of you, as you all enter in, right? And you take in these surroundings, you hear kind of like startled. You see these two bugbears that kind of like perk up, and it's clear like one of them was probably dozing and the other one was just being lax. And the hobgoblins kind of just look glowering at the bugbears. Second. Let me grab... You hear, so the bugbears kind of like, right? Like they get up, they stand up, and the lead hobgoblin just barks over, "Bundle! Churn! We have visitors. Take them to the registration center." That's what they... Sorry. And... There's not a... There is a very clear enmity between the hobgoblins and the bugbears. Like, the hobgoblins look pissed, right? And the bugbears look... They have that kind of like a person got caught doing something they weren't supposed to be doing, but they don't have the like guilty look. They have the fuck you look. They have the I shouldn't be in trouble look. You're the shitbag, not me, right? They have that kind of like face going on, right? But like the moment passes and Bundle and Churn both just kind of like duck their heads towards the hobgoblins and rumbling say okay. And then Ukik and Everick shoulder back past you. And as they leave, Everick kind of calls back over and he says, if they break the rules, then you're answering to Cleuse. And you watch both of the bugbear's eyes go wide. And then Everick and Ukok walk off back the way they came.
We won't be any trouble.
It will be good.
So Bundle and Churn, they kind of stand up off of their stools, and they kind of like they wait, right? They're all kind of like at attention until a few moments after Ukuk and Everick are out of sight, and then they kind of slouch again, right? And they just look at you, and they kind of like they bare teeth, right? Follow us.
Hello.
And they start walking northward.
Those guys are kind of douchebags, aren't they?
I mean, I don't know. They're not torturing anyone in front of us yet.
No, I'm
I think he's trying to like make friends with the bugbears.
So the one in the rear,
Oh.
right? Churn, he kind of like turns at you and he kind of nods and he goes, yeah, high and mighty. Always think they're better because they've got ideas and order and rules. Ah.
Yeah, people like that are a little too uptight.
So they basically walk you up this narrow alleyway to the north. And again, so you're walking through these high stone buildings with debris all around you. But Bundle just stops at the first door that he comes to. And he doesn't knock or anything like that. He just reaches forward and throws the door open. And kind of steps inside. And then Churn steps a little out of the way and he points towards the door. He says, Registration Center.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. As you are brought up into the long building, right? Bundle kind of like ushers you forward. And once everyone in, Churn will actually come inside with you as well and close the door behind you, right? As you are brought into this large building, you see a row of goblins on the east side, sitting up on makeshift desks that are built too high for them. Their squat legs are dangling from the chairs that they sit on. Each of them is bundled up in oversized robes and are wearing pointed conical hats to the point to where they almost kind of like disappear in the robes and the hats. So there are glowing oil lanterns above each desk from chains anchored in the ceilings, right? And to the south, very back of the building, you see a hobgoblin dressed quite similarly to the goblin clerks, only that his clothing actually fits because it's sized for him. He seems quite old, and he peers up at you through cracked half-moon spectacles. He raises a hand to greet you, right? But he doesn't get up from his seat behind his stone lectern. Instead, he points towards the goblin clerks right? And each of them is kind of like, they look at all of you, right? And then they look at him, and then he points at them, right? And almost kind of like in unison, they all go, next!
Alright, I get goblin, so I'll step forward.
Okay.
I follow Bones.
Is it a line, or do they all serve the same purpose?
So you step unsure, right, about what the proper protocol is. You step up to the first one, and you all kind of form a queue behind him, right? And then that goblin looks up at Bones, and while that goblin begins to speak, the other 5 goblins, again in unison, kind of go, next! But louder this time, right? And this goblin gets cut off with what he was about to say, and he kind of like looks over and glares at the other 5 clerks and humps. And then he looks at Bones, right? And then he looks past it and past the rest of you, right? And yeah, when you guys are a little slow to move, he kind of like goes, "You're supposed to fill in." Everyone kind of like
can serve 7 people or 6 people in one.
Everyone kind of like goes at the same time, right?
More efficient than Walmart.
Each of these goblins, right? They sit there and they have these. It's not paper. It looks more like wooden tablets, right? But it's not. It's definitely not wood, right? And they have some sort of etching tool, right? It's not like a ink or quill or pen or something like that. It's more of like a it looks like a quill, right? But it doesn't have any ink or anything like that. It's just a sharpened nib on the end of a feather, right? And they're basically like using it to scratch into the wood. It looks like wood. It has the same like coloration as wood, but it doesn't have the same texture. It looks spongy, kind of. Or at least like the surface seems a little spongy, like maybe it's soaked in water or something like that. But the core seems hard. So each of them, as you all kind of like step forward, they go again, kind of in unison. They go, name.
Ezra.
Matt.
Ashes.
Ezra.
So Bones.
JK, I'm Bones. Don't write that. I'm Bones.
Okay. So you say that, right? And then your goblin looks up right after you change it, and he kind of like he glowers, snorts at you, and he goes back, and you see he like scratches out the first part that he had written, and he has to like re-scribble what your name actually is, right?
I just picture him trying to take the B and turn it into an E.
And then they go. They all look up at you all, right? And they stare straight at you. And then again, in unison, without missing a beat, they go, species!
Half elf.
It's a little forward.
Tiefling.
Tabaxi.
I'm curious as to what...
Alien.
Alien! I love it. Fantastic. Okay, and then they go, age!
What is mine?
28.
Did I write that down?
24.
Definitely did not. I don't know. Young. Hold on.
He writes that. Like Bones, when you say that, he actually just writes that.
Okay.
And then they say, again, looking straight at you, right? They say, height!
6'8". I say, looking down.
6'2".
5'5".
Damn. This dude's nearly a midget. Sorry, little person.
And then they, again, looking straight at you, they go, eye color!
Yellow.
Brown.
Gray.
Damn, is this who filled out their character sheet?
Did anyone during any of that answer something obviously not true?
I mean, besides my name first, no.
No? No one's like 6'5" but said 5'5" or something like that? No one has like green eyes? No one has like green eyes and said they had brown eyes or anything like that?
I mean, I have thaumaturgy. I could have whatever color I
Sure,
want.
but right now,
I didn't think to lie.
no one outwardly, like, obviously lied. Okay.
Well, I mean, lying was not one of the 3 rules.
So, then things get a little bit more complicated. They take that tablet, right? And they set it to the side, and they bring out a fresh tablet, and they mark on it just a little bit, right? And then in unison, each of them goes, skills!
Various?
So this one, like, looks up, and he kind of, like, pushes his glasses, his little spectacles up, and kind of, like, looks down his nose at you. Anything else?
Other than various skills? No.
I'll just look at mine. I'll be hunter.
He's writing, right? You watch him write something down, so he writes down what seems to be your response, and then he keeps writing. And he's writing. He's actually writing in common.
That's weird.
What a scholarly
And
goblin.
he's not hiding it. He's writing that this one seems to have a bad attitude, a bit catty.
Damn, he's got jokes.
Anybody else?
I just start listing things off that I think I'm good at.
Okay.
I talk
How long do
until
you
he cuts
go?
me off. Until he cuts me off.
So probably after the 5th or 6th thing,
Yeah.
he stops writing. And he just
I'm
looks.
not even paying attention to it.
He just looks up at you. Okay, so Ezra keeps going. Ashes?
I just tell him I'm a hunter.
Anything else?
I mean, I like exploring.
He write down that, and then he writes down tight-lipped. And so a few moments pass while people are saying things, and Ezra continues to talk, and then in unison, ignoring Ezra's banter, they all go, "Home City!"
El Turel.
Pyatt.
Technically the Southwood, but I also grew up in
Very clearly just writes Southwood and nothing else.
He just looks at you.
He writes Southwood and then he just looks up at you.
Yep. I tell him my travels and how I got to Waterdeep.
All right.
Jesus.
So
someone's quick explaining.
So you watch.
I'm good at talking about me.
They write for a second. They write your responses, and then they go down to the bottom portion of the second tablet, and they begin writing something there. And then they it looks like they sign the tablet, right? And they bring out from under their desk. They bring out a little what looks to be like maybe like hole punch, or it doesn't make sense what it is initially, but then they put the tablet on the tables in front of them, the desks in front of them, and they each go in unison, boom, and they basically stamp it, but it's not really stamping it. It's basically like a cookie cutter that takes out a corner of the tablet, but each of them is in a different a different form, right? Like each of the clerks has a different stamp. And then they look at you, right? And each of them says, "All right, you've been registered. Have you been explained the rules of Stromkolder?"
No stealing. No hurting. Obey.
The one in front of you, Ashes, nods and he says, "You'll do fine."
What he said.
Yep. Walk off. Oh, hold on, I made
The
my
other two
license.
goblins next to you guys, they basically go, they look at each other and they whisper, audibly so that you can hear them, right? "Nobody likes brown nosers."
I punch him in his stupid nose.
Oh god,
That's
we're
roll
gonna fight the
number
whole
Immediately breaking rule number 2. It happens. Okay, as that happens, right? You all hear a bundle, churn. Take them to see Lord Ezrah. Been wanting to see all visitors immediately. Go on with you. You're done here. Don't cause trouble. He doesn't get up. He just kind of like whisper yells at you in old man voice.
In
And-
old.
Okay. Which way are we
Right.
supposed to go?
In old man voice. So Bundle and Churn are still at the entryway that you guys came into, right? And they seem to be waiting on you. Churn opens up the door. And he steps outside. And he begins to move northward, right? To kind of get out of the way so you guys can all come out. Okay. And as you do, right, he kind of like waves a hand at you and he says, "Chief's Hold is this way." And he starts to slowly march northward.
All right, we're marching. We're following the rules, not stealing anything.
All right. Churn comes out, closes the door behind you, and they begin to move to the north. They lead you through the winding, choked, narrow streets of Ezrah's Hold. And they will take you. Trying to figure out which route they would take you. They would take you probably to the west, right? And then north.
Man, I kind of miss Fog of War.
Right. And you go by a series of buildings, and it looks here in this section of the city.
How tall is the cavern here?
Okay, so the cavern itself, it varies in different areas, but the majority of it is at least 40 to 50 feet tall. There are some portions of the cavern ceiling that go out of your sight range, right? So they're a little further than 60 feet. But most of it is within 30 to 50.
Okay.
Yeah. with the 30 being kind of like closer to the cavern walls and the 50 being closer to the center portions. Most of the buildings are between 10 to 15 feet tall. There don't seem to be any like 2-story buildings or anything like that. They're all like squat stone buildings. You know, it's just they're all I say squat stone buildings. They're all spacious interiors, probably. I mean, there's plenty of squat stone buildings, but the big ones are big but not 2-story. So Churn keeps leading you northward, and as he does, you actually, so you've been hearing, you hear things all around you, right? You hear talking, you hear industry, but as you guys kind of get up to this point, you actually hear the choo, 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 and you see marching from west to east, you see a small patrol of hobgoblins marching choo, 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 through the streets. And Churn kind of like waits for them to pass. Not quite skulking in the shadows, but clearly clearly giving them birth, right? And keeps going north.
Damn, probably a bitch to fight all these guys.
How about we don't?
So let's maybe not.
I mean, you can find out. Okay, so that patrol kind of like marches off into the distance, right?
I like how the Hobgoblin City has full-on like registration and all this shit. The Drown's like, come, speak with our leader.
Hobgoblins are all about that fucking like law and order, man. All right, so you get up to a large building, right? And Churn approaches a hobgoblin here, and he kind of like straightens up as he gets closer, right? Like he stands in more of like a regimented way, and he looks at the hobgoblin and he says, "Visitors to the hold. We were told to bring them here." And so the hobgoblin kind of like looks, right, at you, and he kind of like looks you up and down, and there's a moment, right, where he kind of like, he doesn't sneer at you. Oh, let me turn that off. He doesn't sneer at you, but
Thank you.
sorry, you guys gotta remind me when
I
we're.
didn't realize that was on.
Yeah, when
So
we're
I
away
actually
from the
was gonna
set.
say it earlier, but then
Yeah.
like you were in a full spiel, and I was like, I don't want
How
hit him
many
in the middle
times
of
did
that.
you have to go to the bathroom while that was going, Mitch?
Just once.
Just once.
But like it was one of those things that like that sound I can't really tune out very well.
Yeah.
So like the water sound just was driving me fucking nuts.
Okay, so this hobgoblin looks at you all right, and he doesn't sneer at you, right, but he definitely looks down his nose a little bit at you, and he says, "Ugh." And probably he has this thick accent. It's obvious he doesn't speak common a lot, right? But he knows the language. So in a very thick accent, he basically goes, "Behave yourselves. Gorger and Throat Snapper haven't eaten today."
Gorger and throat snap. Perf.
I
Okay.
don't
Well,
wanna-
who wants to make bets? Who wants to make bets on what they are?
Snapper, it's got to be a turtle.
You think a turtle?
Dude, if they're
Okay.
fucking turtles, that'd be so
A
cool.
giant- It'd be like a giant turtle.
Okay. I got money on big like wargs.
A ward? That would be cool.
Oh, that's a very fucking goblin.
Yeah. Maybe maybe it's just dire wolves.
Could be direwolves, yeah.
Like that's a little bit like pulling it back though. Like
Where the fuck did they get fucking dire wolves down here? I think they're crabs.
I mean,
Okay.
Matashtai has one in his back pocket.
So we got turtles, wargs. What did you say again, Zach?
Craps.
Crabs. What do you got, Jake?
I am gonna go with like a grick.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, Grick pets. Neat. That'd be cool.
That'd be pretty
Okay. All right. Let's see what we got.
They can snap.
cool. Okay. So, there's like 50 rooms in this city, by the way, so getting to the right room can be a little difficult.
Yeah, what a waste when we're gonna explore all of 3 of them.
Well, you know.
You got double mics.
I know.
Okay,
How
so
the fuck do you double mic anything?
this
'Cause I was in the
hobgoblin.
kitchen.
He walked away.
No, I mean like how? Like how are you running through 2 mics?
He's
Because
got
I
a
have,
test mic and is.
Well, I get that he has 2 mics. I'm asking how he's running his audio.
I've tried to answer the
question.
question like 7 times. I have a virtual audio board called Voice Meter Banana that I run everything through.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, the hobgoblin turns, right? And he opens the door and steps in. And as he opens the door, you're going to see a bunch of different things. So, as he steps in, and he begins to lead you into this large building, you are immediately faced by 2 incredibly large, bestial-looking wolves. They are actually wargs. Good job, Mitch.
Yes!
They're gnarled
Because it was
faces.
such a far off guess.
Fuck you! I was right. Don't belittle my victory.
They're-
Yucking in your yum.
Their gnarled faces
Zach,
and
it's a totally
strangely large shoulders mark them as something more than just plain wolves. Still, after looking you over and growling at you, they return to their apparently previous work, which is gnawing upon large, what look to be femurs. So, past these creatures is a
Just
wider
bones.
room
His
filled
bones
with
start getting really
goblinoids.
sad.
There is a bellows and an open forge on the far east wall, and in the southeast corner of this large room. So this hobgoblin kind of like leads you in, and as he does, goblins and bugbears and hobgoblins step out of his way, right? And he leads you into the
So
center.
many people in here.
There's a shit ton of people in here, and there's small tables and things like that, and there are people.
We'd fucking die if we picked
There
a
are
fight in
people
here.
feasting, right? This is like a little feast hall. And in the southeast corner, okay, of the large room lies a throne of bleached skulls. Atop a small pile of bones that have been fused together with some sort of mortar, right?
The alabaster throne.
Sitting on the throne is a hobgoblin in dark iron armor, with 1 foot resting upon a large anvil and 1 hand draped over the pommel of a greatsword. His dark iron helm covers most of his face and leaves his eyes darkened in shadow. To his right stands a similarly dressed, armored female hobgoblin, who looks at you discerningly before leaning in to whisper in the ear of the warlord.
We all know
they
how this
gave
turns
a-
out. We had a worm tongue situation, boys.
I wish they gave him a different token than
Dang,
Absolutely
I'm
wish
hobgoblin.
he is such a potentially cool character, and he gets no art. He gets nothing.
He has a red background. That's it.
Yeah, it ticks me off, man.
But
Ticks
like,
me
in the
off.
books, he gets a like an arc.
Huh?
Like at the end, in Return of the King, he gets
No.
We're talking about Ezrah. We're talking about the hobgoblin.
God. All right. Let
We're
me turn the
saying
page.
we're
All
saying
right, we're on
he
the
doesn't
page
get
one.
anything. I'm putting Ezrah in amongst you all because he left himself outside.
That was on
Uh,
purpose.
With that,
Yeah,
if he would like to debate that, he can. But if that is the way he chooses, he's gonna have two bugbears grab him by the arms and drag him into the hall.
I would actually be like really nervous right now if we actually came in here with the intent to try to behead Ezrah.
I mean, it's still on the table.
Is it though?
I think it's possible we kill him, but we don't survive the exit.
You don't think so?
No.
Go out on
Pretty unlikely.
Like,
All right.
this would be like we kill this bro and like we don't make it out.
Maybe
But,
that's what the drow intended.
like I can 100% probably zerg that man, but
All right, so you are brought forward into this fest hall, right? That is clearly this is the throne room of the Legion of Azrok's commander, Azrok himself, right? He sits upon his throne of skulls and he watches his men eat and drink and discuss. Right, there's a table off to the side with a map set up, right? It looks like some sort of maybe like war table or something. And there's individuals standing there, but now, right, all of that has kind of like died down as you all have walked into the room. And the hobgoblin that brought you in here, right? He stands and he waits for you all to stop and turn and face Azrok. And he says, "Commander, we have visitors to the hold." And all the other goblinoids just hush. And you hear this kind of almost like sigh, and you watch the dark iron armor that Azrok is wearing just kind of like weigh on him for a second. You have come from difficult time, but as long as you follow our I am as Legion Command. Introduce yourself.
We are a group of adventurers sent from many different factions on the surface, and we come bearing tribute. And I'll step up and present a giant ass pile of of 500 silver pieces.
Okay. So you take out like a sack.
Yeah, just
of silver pieces,
big
right?
old-
Okay.
Just plop it down. I guess. Do I hand it to a goblinoid nearby, or?
No one steps forward to take it.
Well, I'm not going to approach Ezrah, so I guess
Okay.
I'll just
So
place it on the
you
floor.
just kind of like hold it, and when no one moves, you place it on the floor. As you do, right, you watch as Azrok's head, and like his head dips, and he looks at the bag, right? And then the female standing next to him, the woman, leans in and whispers in his ear. And then he kind of nods. Second. Tribute is good. Though strange emissary from the city, I have spoken with representatives of the Lords on many. They normally send their money chests.
Those are a little heavy.
Howdy there, Legion Commander. My name's Matt, short for Matashtai. Thank you for welcoming us into your city. And I pull out some cloth of gold vestments and a carved bone statue. It's like one of my 25 gold art pieces I have.
Okay. What do you do with them?
I place them on the ground in front as well.
The Ezrah kind of turns again, looking at you from underneath the shadowy helm, right? And again,
You really brought some draw heads.
the
I
woman
swear.
steps forward and kind of whispers into his ear. Nods. Fine gifts. It will be put to use. My men deserve more pay. And you hear a little like stifled cheer kind of like come up before like as it starts to like you hear a couple of them actually like full on like here, right? And the woman like snaps to attention at the arm of Ezrah, and as she does, everybody shuts the fuck up. Like that just drops, and she just like glares across the room.
Who is this bitch?
It's Wormtongue.
His
And
I'm
wife.
telling you right now. I'm calling
then
it right now. This is a Wormtongue situation.
Then she waits, right? And then Ezrah kind of like nods and he inclines his head towards you all.
I step forward in Ash's fashion. I say, I am Bones, and I offer you the fangs of my latest kill. And I give him 2 of my Drider fangs.
You watch, right, when you say this, right, Bones, he kind of like he moves slightly and he puts his armored head kind of like on his gauntleted fist, and he kind of like looks in your general direction, and he kind of like nods a little bit. So you put those down.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Ezrah. I wish to offer something a little more along the lines of the alchemical, if you don't mind. Something within my trade is what they call a healing potion, and I pull out 2 regular healing potions and I set them on the ground.
Okay.
For someone as prestigious as you, I think something like this in your back pocket would be helpful.
The warlord nods, right? And the woman next to him looks at this gift, right? And she nods too. And this is the first time that her kind of stoic face, her stern face, kind of softens ever so slightly. Like she looks pleased at this gift.
Haha. Suck it,
And-
nerds.
And
Oh, you heard the
Our
figure of
gifts won't
Wormtongue.
impact us later.
Oh no, Wormtongue likes Jake and not us.
Okay, and then there's a little bit of a nod, right, or a little bit of a moment that hangs, and then Ezrah goes, ashes, Matashtai, bones, Ezrah. We welcome the whole. You have been told our rules, yes?
Aye, we have.
That is. We are simple. Keep to them. You can enjoy the hospitality. You head to Skullport, I assume.
We do.
May your travels bear you. In the meantime, if you wish, I'm sure a place could be found.
Out of character, I want to make sure that I have our goals correct. We want to ally ourselves with him to defeat the Drow, right?
Well, possibly.
I mean-
It depends how much of a douchebag they are.
That is
So
what
far,
the eggs
like
have
'em.
asked us to do, yes.
Okay. And why again do we want to do that for the hags?
Because we like the hags more than the douchebag drows.
And I
Okay.
think we like
We're
the
probably
goblin
talking
more than
about
the
it
douchebag
now.
drow.
Okay. Oh, right. It was because he brings order to the level, they bring chaos. Or something along those lines.
I mean, they
All
bring order, they just bring drought order.
And they are guarding the passage to the second.
Yeah, well, and just
Well-
throwing this out there, we're welcomed here. We were not welcomed there.
Yeah. Okay, then in character again. If you don't mind, Commander, we came with another reason to your city, or your stronghold.
Ah,
We
my emissaries are more than they proclaimed to be. Why am I not surprised?
You're right. We'd like to be more than emissaries. We'd like to be allies.
Lovers.
We can be lovers.
Allies. In what?
We noticed you had a bit of a spider problem when we got to this level.
Indeed.
And let's say they haven't treated us the best so far.
In fact,
We'd
the
like-
only reason why we were able to get here is because we agreed to come back to them with your head. But seeing your second rule forbids any harm
Ashes
coming to
says
anybody.
that?
Jesus Christ.
Why the fuck would you
Ashes.
say that?
Ashes
Why
says
would you
that,
say that?
Fucking reroll new characters right now.
and
I was-
every single hobgoblin
I
in
am
the
unarmed.
hall, you all hear that shink, right, of steel being drawn. Every single hobgoblin, not the bugbears or the goblins, right? They're slow on the uptake. Every single hobgoblin has a weapon free in a half a second, including the fucking dark iron armored woman standing next to Azrock, and she's got a big ass two-handed sword off of her back and in her hands in an instant. And Azrock just like he's sitting there like he's doing the you know the thing like this, right? Where he has the like hand draped up and he just like raises a hand. And every hobgoblin in the room just stands still.
I think what my crimson-colored friend was intending to say is the Drow have an intent that I think you are well aware of, and we found ourselves in a situation where they thought we were useful to them without them understanding our intent.
Yeah, they're douchebags. That's what I said.
And what is that? I cannot fathom that you have come from the upper city to ally with Drow. Why
We didn't start that
are
way.
you an Undermountain?
We have matters deeper in the mountain. But at least for
Do
me,
not play coy with me. Straight answers.
we seek Halaster.
Technically true.
Should not.
And at least for me, I intend to leave places better than how I found them. It seems we can do some good here while we are passing through.
The woman cracks a smile and speaks actually speaks for the first time audibly to all of you and the room. And she says, kind of chuckling, "Ha! You hear that, boys? We're better than the Drow."
Yeah, fuck them. What do you
Responding to your leaving it better than you found it comment, right? Basically, and there's a chuckle, right? There's a ripple of laughter that kind of like goes through the room, and all of the hobgoblins resheath their blades. She does not, but she puts the tip down on the stand next to her, and she just holds it in one hand.
That's bad for a sword. You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that, Jeremy.
Unless it's magical.
Even if it is.
100% is.
100% is a little high. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I mean, yeah.
Ezrah takes a moment, right?
Yeah, Ezrah.
The enemy of my enemy. Alliance sound plausible, but I have no idea of who or what are what you are capable.
Snake.
You bring no army. What alliance would be?
We've
done this rodeo before. You got a task that needs doing?
We do like tasks. You know, venturing, exploring.
Shit.
Let us show our worth to you. Give us a job.
Almost immediately, right? The woman leans down and begins to whisper, and as she does, right, like Azrak like raises his hand and cuts her off, right?
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Says, I have a task. Yes. How would he phrase it? Would say
Head of the Drow.
he would say Krek, which ashes means in Goblinoid it means this for that. It's basically their word for trade,
quid pro quo.
Ah, yes. Not shit hills.
And he says, when he says Krek, right? There's someone in the room gasps, right? And there's a hush, which seems very odd, right? Ashes, he says the word for trade, and then someone gasps, right?
Well, that means it just doesn't.
Yeah, it
mean-
doesn't. The context doesn't hold there, right? And he says, "We have had a thorn eye for some time."
Oh, you should probably have that removed. Those are painful.
I am too.
Good, that's healthy. The potions can't help with that.
You will be the one.
Medicine's not really my.
This thorn's name, Inra.
Damn, I was sure he was gonna say Cauldron.
Oh, you don't mean an actual. I gotcha.
Bones shakes his head at Ezra.
Kinrob lives southeastern coast reaches. The whole. The furthest point, southwest. This section strong.
But wasn't one of the laws to not harm?
What's the other?
Obey the Legion.
To follow the.
Very good.
So the laws are not mutually exclusive. They
So
can.
this is like the opposite of the robot law.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Third law
Apparently,
supersedes
Order
first
doesn't
law.
matter, apparently, yeah.
So, says, you will bring me Kinrobs. If you can accomplish this, then you are worthy of us.
What is Kinrab? Is he another hobgoblin or something else?
So you can't see much of Azraq's face, again darkened by the shadowy dark iron helmet, but you can see a little bit of his kind of like teeth, and he just smiles darkly at you when you ask.
Think about
And
the
he
mouth of
says-
Sauron.
And he says, you have all the information. I hand you. How does that make this a...
I mean, information is valuable for both sides.
Perform the task or don't.
Real quick,
Return with his head. Discussion.
Did he say why he wanted this person dead? Did I miss that?
Nope.
Other than it's a thorn in his side, nope.
All right. I say, if you don't mind me asking, why do you want Kinrob dead? I'll do tasks, but I'm not necessarily an assassin for hire.
He costs me resources in time. He is a drain on religion.
He kills your people?
He is an issue.
We'll see it
We'll
done.
go check it out.
Damn, conflicting messages.
He kind of like he looks over towards the woman, right? Kind of like looks in her general direction, and then she leans down and whispers, and you see that kind of like dark smile again, and he says, "I would hurry.
Did he tell us who or what this thing we're supposed to kill is?
It's almost time."
It just says where it is.
He gave you his name. He said,
Is
where
this
he
a
was.
person, a creature?
I tried asking that, and he refrained.
He's not gonna tell us.
Ah, okay, cool. Let's go then. I'm down. I'm fresh. I'm ready.
He looks kind of like out, right? He turns away from the woman. Look, Anna. And she kind of like snaps to it. Have them escorted the general direction that leads. No need to guide them. And the woman, he nods slightly, and she steps forward off of the dais. That's kind of like the throne is upon, right? And she waves you forward, and waves you kind of like out the northern side. All the goblins and hobgoblins begin to step out of the way, and the door is opened, right? And then you are let through. Guy goes back to his post.
Did you say southwest?
Yes. But she takes you out to this point, and then this guy will follow. And she takes you kind of like over to the east, and brings a hobgoblin foot soldier with her. And nope, undo. Not a. And then the door is shut behind you. The hall, the fest hall, is closed. And Lurkana brings the other hobgoblin forward, and she looks at him and she says, "Alzarin, you will take them to the southwest, past the excavation, but no further. They will make their way." And then she looks at the hobgoblin, like she looks at though she's gonna like walk away, like walk past you and back into the hall. But then she looks at the hobgoblin and she says, "Osrin, I've forgotten my sidearm. Fetch it for me." And Osrin kind of like looks at her, and just kind of nods, and then he rushes past you, like he pushes past you, and he goes back into the fest hall. Okay. And as that happens, right, Lurkana turns and she looks at you all, and she, "Do this thing for him. Come back. Whole. Sound. I cannot give you more information. Defeat the purpose of the test. But look capable. Keep your wits about you.
we plan to.
You are choosing the right side. And I hope, once this is all said and done, we can continue to have a mutually beneficial relationship. There are things the Legion does, City. Things City can do.
It's good enough for me. Well, I guess we'll see you in a few hours.
It should not take that. Hopefully. And by this point, right, Osren comes rushing back out. And he has a short sword, right, that he has obtained from somewhere. And he rushes up to Lurkana, and he kind of, like, presents it. And Lurkana just kind of, like, grabs it. It's in a scabbard, right? She just kind of, like, grabs it and holds it at her side, like,
She
whatever.
doesn't.
And then she kind of, like, looks at Osren. Go. Now. And he doesn't wait for you, he starts clomping southward.
But see it.
Alright. As you all disappear to the south, Lurkana...
Or southwest, because when you said it, I wrote down southeast.
He actually said all of those things.
I probably said a million things, just follow the hobgoblin.
Okay.
Alright, following the hobgoblin.
Okay, so Lurkana heads back into the fest hall. And Mitch is on top of someone's on top of the hobgoblin. God damn it.
Zach,
Zach's on top of the hobgoblin.
just assume it's Zach.
I thought it was Mitch because you had gone the furthest, and I thought the hobgoblin was the furthest. Osren begins to clomp through a number of different kind of like back alleyways that are choked with rubble, right? So as you come down this, or to this section, right, you see eastward, you see, you see some lights, I believe. Yeah, you can see some kind of like dim lights glowing off in the distance to the east. But the hobgoblin doesn't go that way. Like, he continues down southward. Then he swings southwest. And keeps going way south until you basically you're crawling through, not crawling, but you're walking through a just rubble choked tunnel. And you as you walk, right, you hear that sound of like pickaxes and hammers, right? You hear it way louder. And he continues to walk to the east. Okay. As you are walking through this kind of section, okay, as you pass through this rubble-strewn passageway, you hear a soft sobbing sound.
Is it apparent where this is coming from?
I mean, you could track it down pretty easily, sure.
See the top of a goblin head right here.
It's absolutely coming from that direction.
Oh, little guy.
What is the hobgoblin doing?
He's just marching. He's just doing his duty. Okay, so assuming that nothing happens,
Fuck it, I go check on that
he keeps
motherfucker.
it's fine.
okay,
I'm trying to like.
What's up, little guy? What's up?
Sorry, I
Hey,
was reading something.
Okay. So the
I'm friend of goblins. I'll check this motherfucker out.
the hobgoblin, as you kind of like step off the beaten path and start talking to this goblin, the hobgoblin does stop, right? And he kind of like looks back and he says, "Ugh, supposed to be going this way, wasting time talking to that one."
What's
So as you step around the corner, you see a young goblin child with stringy dark hair and tears running down her face. She looks at you in surprise at first as you kind of like round the corner, right? And she kind of like looks up at you and she kind of like blinks rapidly from these tear-soaked eyes. And then she kind of like her eyes widen as if like a thought dawns on her, and then she just starts babbling at you, right? Dan du shekan tarshak adruk shul dar adruk the dagmar.
sweet?
And she just starts like babbling that over and over and over again in iterations, right?
All right, I just walk off. I fucking grab her. I grab her and I fucking take her ass to ashes.
You grab her, okay?
I'll walk over.
She like squeaks at first when you like grab her, and she's like
Yeah, well,
startled,
I'm stronger
right?
than she is, so
Okay. And you pull her out of her little hidey hole. And the hobgoblin over there is like, he crosses his arms and he kind of like glowers across at you, right? But he seems conflicted, like he grumbles to himself, not part of the orders. But he's like, his orders were to take you to this location, so if you don't go, is he failing his orders? Like, if he just goes to the location, that's not taking you to the location. So he's like unraveling this knot in his head, right? And he seems very displeased to be thinking about it. So Bones, you pull this goblin child out into the open.
I point to Ashes. I say, tell him.
She doesn't know what you're saying.
I know, I point to her, and then I point to him.
I'll say in Goblinoid, what's wrong?
Okay, so she blinks back in surprise, like she squeals in kind of like terror at first when she sees you. Ashes, when she sees the red-skinned devil man.
I'm not a devil man.
Are you a demon man then?
Red-skinned fiend man?
Technically would be a demon man.
So she seems very taken
man.
aback and surprised, right? But then when you speak to her in Goblinoid, she begins to babble that again, right? So she says the same kind of phrase to you. But the translation is, they took Princess Sweetcup. I don't know what I'll do without her.
Who is Princess Sweetcup?
Princess Sweetcup is Princess Sweetcup. She's my bestest friend in the whole world. They took her to sell her to that man.
To Kinrob?
She kind of like bares her teeth, right? And she's got these like incisors, like pretty extreme incisors. And she kind of like snarls and she says, "Crack."
Crack.
And when she says this, she says, she kind of like sniffs and she kind of like slumps, and she mutters something under her breath. Probably to the point of being instinctually, probably to the point of being inaudible to you, Ashes. not inaudible to Bones, but Bones, you can't understand what she's saying.
I don't know what the fuck Goblin
Like,
is
if
looking.
you see her say something, you see her mutter something, Ashes, you just don't know what she said. And when that gets said, right, the hobgoblin kind of like huffs and he says, "We're wasting time here. And you, keep your mouth shut. These people are important business for Lord Ezrah. They don't care about your princess."
I care about the princess.
I'll look up to the party. She said that
Well, I guess technically he would be saying that
best
in
friend was
Goblinoid
taken
too,
away.
because she doesn't understand Common. Sorry. So sorry. Go ahead, Ashes. What were you saying?
Apparently her best friend had been taken away. I asked by whom, and she said trade.
Cool. I mean, if
Have we seen any of the lesser folks in what appeared slave garb, shackles, manacles?
No,
any
no,
of that?
you haven't seen any of the bugbears or goblins that you've seen. None of them have been manacled or shackled or anything like that. I mean, life here seems hard, so they're not exactly like decked out in fine robes or anything. But
Yeah, no, I was specifically looking for.
it's absolutely like probably a thing that they are the lower class and they are probably treated unfairly, but they don't seem to be like a slave situation. As there's kind of like an obvious issue, like this little goblin girl shrinks back away from the hobgoblin, and she kind of says under her breath, she says it to the strange demon man. He says, Can you bring Princess Sweetcup back to me? I can't go there. I can't go to.
Where was she?
Princess Sweetcup?
what is she? Is it a cat?
I don't know. Is
a
is
rat?
she a goblin
doll?
like?
She's my doll.
That's what I thought. Okay. Yup, we'll get it. We're gonna fucking beat some ass and we're gonna get that
We'll
doll.
see what we can do.
Says, okay. Be careful. He's not a nice man.
And who is he?
Neither am I.
Correct.
Crack. Oh. Crack. What's the goblin word for trade?
Correct.
Crick.
Cricks.
Cricks.
Cricks, it's Cricks.
Trade information.
Okay. So
just
I
one
mean
time
that's a weird encounter, right? But
Okay,
the goblin girl.
I am putting on my quest tracker.
You do
Find
what you want, right?
goblin ball. Sweet.
What is it? Can she describe it? What does it look like?
I'm pretty sure. Do you know what the doll looks like?
She will describe it if you ask Ashes.
It could just be like a fucking rock. You don't know.
It's just a dot. And it's like a pet rock.
She describes what sounds like actually a broken, probably very dirty porcelain-faced doll. Probably not something from down here.
Okay. Well, we'll be back.
Osrin,
Sorry to keep you waiting.
Osrin in a huff, kind of glowers at the little goblin girl, and he says, "Don't you have somewhere to be?" And she kind of like, she squeaks and she darts off. And then he stomps south.
stomp behind him. Stomping.
And he gets to this point, and he turns, right, and he points southward, right, and he says, "Not much further. I will not wait for you. Not what I was told. You have been delivered. Deal with Kinrob. Return with his head."
Can you tell us what he looks like, or how do we know we have the right person?
He runs a shop.
We're just gonna go assassinate a merchant?
All right. Well,
Yeah,
we're not
maybe he's got some
we're not
cool
gonna do
stuff.
nothing until we get some information. Since they don't want to give us any information, we'll find it ourselves.
Well, why don't we wait till the orc walks off before we say that?
So he walks off.
All right, now we're not going to do nothing until we get some information.
Okay.
Now that he's out of earshot.
So as you guys
I said all that in your minds.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool then.
Sure.
Cool.
Sure.
I agree.
As you guys move southward, right, you're moving through a much more destroyed section of the Stromkolder ruins, right? This area is completely choked with rubble. There are certain portions, there are certain alleys and roads that you actually have to like climb up over rubble to pass. You see there are buildings where giant stones have actually crashed down in and through, destroying the buildings. There are missing walls and holes and things like that. This portion of the city is devastated, right? By whatever massive cave-in or whatever befell the settlement of Stromkolder. This is definitely where a good portion of it took the worst brunt. And it just gets worse as you move further south.
We move further south, looking for a shop, looking around. Oh,
Wow, this
yeah.
is like a full-blown city.
You pass sections of destroyed walls,
I don't see no goddamn shop down here.
gutted interiors, etc. And after you passing through all of it, down at the I swear to God, Zach,
What?
I've watched you as you're just like
Trying to go through the wall.
welcome me. As you guys you head further south, right?
You know what I'm
You-
about.
You go through some of the most choked and collapsed sections where rubble actually kind of like falls down the walls around you, down a very narrow path, and you find yourselves in front of a doorway, an entryway. And on that door, gouged into the doorframe, is the word Krek.
Oh,
Do the walls, does the destruction, does any of it look like creatures, or the source of the damage? Does any of it seem recent, or...
None of it necessarily shows as recent.
Okay.
It feels like some great calamity struck Stromkolder in a distant past and probably collapsed the great portions of the city. And it's so much labor to try to correct it and such dangerous work, right? Dealing with collapses, that entire sections of the city just lay in ruin. But it is clear from the sounds that you guys have heard, right? There is some sort of activity going on in Azraq's Hold. So, let's find yourselves outside of this doorway.
We go in.
Let's go in.
Fuck it.
Okay.
I'm empowered by the law of this place.
You okay?
No knock raid.
Okay. All right, Zach.
We don't need warrants anymore. Let's go.
That's a little fucked up.
It's a no knock.
So you open the door, throw open the door, right? And inside, you see, a
One man. Oh,
a
good.
small shop with the walls of which have mostly caved in, and the space that remains within is filled with piles of junk and well-worn adventuring gear. At the back of the shop, sitting on a pile of wooden slats, is an old hobgoblin, bundled up as if for winter, and he's smoking on a short pipe. And as you kind of like enter in, he kind of like looks up, and you see little smoke rings out of the pipe. And he looks and he says, "Oh, interesting visitors I have today.
We
We
can't.
It's been
kill up, I
quite
assume.
odd these past few months, but I have to say, you all take great."
Kinrob?
Dagger. No, I'm joking. I don't do that.
I am Kinrob. You have me at a disadvantage. Know my name. I don't know yours.
I like.
Maybe he's a demon. He needs our name to defeat us.
We can't do this.
Okay.
Well, we can quite easily. He's old.
So it is at this point, right, that you hear this marching come up behind you. And you see these two hobgoblins, right? And they seem surprised to see you. They look at you, right? One steps forward and he goes, "Oh." And he kind of calls out, "Kinrob." And the old hobgoblin goes, "Yes, I'm here. We didn't know you had visitors." "Oh, don't worry about it. I'm sure they're just here to trade. It's fine."
Let me guess.
And the hobgoblins kind of like nod, right? At you all, because they can't see Kinrob. And the one kind of like, "Excuse me." And he tries to kind of like push past you and step forward into the shop.
Oh, well, yeah, I'll
Okay?
Get out the way.
As he does, right, you see him kind of pull, you realize he's carrying a basket, right? And he pulls the basket out in front of him, and he nods to Kinrob and he says, "Here." And Kinrob goes, "Oh, right on time. Just leave it there." And the hobgoblin like looks over to the side, right? There's a little like table, and he puts the basket on the table, and he kind of like nods, and he doesn't look like he knows what to do with himself, and he just kind of like he turns almost kind of like urgently bumps into something, and he grunts, and he almost bumps into you, Bones, because you're still kind of like standing there, and then he kind of rushes out of the shop, right? And the other hobgoblin who's waiting there for him they both just like quick march away, right? And as this is happening, right? Kinrob goes, sorry for the interruption. Back to what we were saying. And then you all hear,
No, I'm good on that. Kill the baby.
coming from the basket. And you see tiny hands and feet picking up. As a little, you see a blanket pushed back, and you see a little tiny goblin baby in the basket. And that's where we're gonna go ahead and end our episode for tonight.
He eats gobbo babies.
Well, if he ate gobble babies, that would make me feel less bad about killing an old man.
Yeah, no, I'll straight up murder him.
I'm like looking over. I'm like looking for a porcelain doll sitting somewhere.
I don't think he's a hobgoblin.
So, we will allow our players a week to kind of mull over what the fuck is going on with that.
Or a month, who knows?
Or a month. God, I hope not.
Fuck.
I would really like to get back into the swing of things. Either way, I had a fun time. You guys have explored so much of level 3.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is you've just kind of explored it. You haven't dealt with the
Yeah,
Lord.
Dug your teeth into it.
Yeah,
Ran-
you haven't gotten your teeth really into it. So I'm looking forward to where things actually go. I feel like you guys got some moral faction dilemmas going on. I'm interested to see how they kind of shake out.
There's
So,
just so many questions like, why would Ezrah have trouble getting rid of this guy?
Because he's a
So much
demon.
so that you would elicit help from a third party?
I don't know.
You do.
Maybe he's like,
I do,
This old
but-
man is like Bernie Sanders. He has the hope of the people.
Yeah, he's actually not a demon or anything like that. He's just a hobgoblin. He's just an old hobgoblin. But he's
just
like-
Hobgoblin
he's
Bernie
the-
Sanders.
He's the democratic hobgoblin, right?
Time.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
The hobgoblins. With all the... I don't know.
All
I
right.
can't
Well,
draw.
I had a good time. I hope you guys enjoyed. We will hopefully be back next week, and we will see you all then. Goodbye, everybody.
That does.
Bye.